Oh, yeah. And that's what we get.
Come on in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're storing. Yep, you're doing that. Yeah, they don't have that. Don't act over again. That's the one.
This might look a little bit different because all of you have already signed up to sell with us, so that's exciting. But first off, thank you for coming in, for supporting us. Thank you for signing up to sell with us. I just thought it'd be really nice to kind of get everybody together. We can talk through what we're doing. I think there's a lot of surface level knowledge about kind of like what we've got going on, but there's still a lot of questions that I get pretty repeatedly, and I thought it'd be nice to just kind of bring everybody together, talk about everything all at once, and dig into what we're doing a little bit. So again, just thank you for coming. I know most of you. I've met some of you today for the first time, so exciting. But I'm Amanda Vanden Elsen.
I'm Chris.
Yes?
Hi.
So this idea was really just kind of born out of thinking about like what are the problems that we face not only in our sport and in our series, but like what do racers really deal with on a daily basis? Like what are the issues that people are facing, and what can we do about it from the seats that we're in right now? So I was sitting at work one day. I work in HR, and I was sitting at my desk working, and all of a sudden I went, and like people must have thought I was nuts or like hyperventilating or something, but I texted Chris and I was like, I need to call you. Are you available for a call? This is not a text idea. So that's when Racer on Demand really just kind of started bubbling up in my head, and that was the week after Thanksgiving, so this has happened very quickly. We went to PRI the first week of December and started talking with our friends and fellow racers and racers that we know from other motorsports, and really importantly some of our sponsors, and everybody we talked to said, how do I get involved? Like, this sounds so cool, like how do we just make this happen? And it was really that momentum and that validation that sparked us to run with it and run with it quickly to make sure we could bring it to you guys before the race season started this year. So that's kind of how this came about. Our vision is really to revolutionize the racing industry as a whole. Like, this is not a small champ off-road racing thing. This is something that we're looking at taking bigger, much bigger. I want Racer on Demand to be a motorsports icon by the time we're done with it. And I want to do that really by transforming the way that fans and racers interact, and by modernizing how motorsports are marketed. I think that those two pieces really go hand in hand together, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. That's really what we're founded on, and that's what we're working towards. What do we do? What is Racer on Demand? So, Racer on Demand is really a twofold approach, and I know that all of you are familiar, at least with the merch marketplace side of the things. So we take your designs, we put them on merchandise, and we sell that to our fans online in an easily discoverable, navigatable format. And then we pay you for it, which is awesome. The other side of that, though, is the side that I don't know that we've done a great job of communicating to you yet. And that's the racer resources. That's really where my vision of modernizing that motorsports marketing comes into play. It's where you're really going to be learning about how to connect better with your fans and how to make really meaningful connections with your fans and your sponsors, which all of that comes back to bringing you more money for your race program. And that's really what this is all about, is putting more money into the racers' pockets. Anything you'd add?
I mean, I could go pretty in depth into that side of it.
Not that much.
I mean, what do you want to just what we do with our marketing side?
Just, I don't know, do you have anything you'd add on your intro? So, you know, clickbait me. If you haven't seen my blog post titles, I really love clickbait. But, so today's title is 5 Things You Didn't Know About Racer on Demand. So we're going to go through 5 things that maybe you knew, maybe you didn't know, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into them. So the first one is, we probably pay you more than you pay you. So as we were validating the idea of Racer on Demand in that very short time frame between PRI and when we announced in January that we were launching Racer on Demand, we went out and we started talking to racers and we started talking to fans and asking them questions like, racers, why do you sell merch? How do you sell merch? How do you get your merch? Where do you get your merch? What kind of barriers do you have as you're trying to sell merch? And then we turned around and talked to the fans and we said, why do you buy merch? Why do you support racers? What kind of things cause you to buy a merch from a racer? What kind of barriers do you have when you're trying to buy merch from a racer? And we took all this information and just kind of compiled it to solve a problem. And the main problem that we found is that racers want to get their name out there. That's why they're selling merch. They're putting merch on the backs of fans so other people can see their name out there. But oftentimes they're doing it at cost or sometimes even at a pretty significant loss just to see their name out there. When I talked to race fans told me the number one reason overwhelmingly that they buy merch from a racer has nothing to do with the merch itself. They want to put money in a racer's pocket. So there's such a huge disconnect there of seeing racers putting themselves out of money to do something that a fan really just wants to give them money for. And so that's where I was like, we have such an opportunity to solve this problem and bridge that connection, make that much more meaningful interaction, which in turn will put more money into racers' pockets. So that was kind of where that merch marketplace came from. And that's where I'm saying, I'm going to pay you more than you probably are paying yourselves without us. So the way that we have our pay structure set up is we pay racers 20% of every sale regardless. There's no variance on that. It doesn't matter what my cost is on the garments. I'm setting pricing where we're not losing money on it by paying you 20%, but you're getting 20% period. We formally launched our merch marketplace on May 13th, so a little over a month ago. By the end of May, we had already had $491.60 in commissions earned by our racers. That was across 13 people on our platform, splitting that $500, which I'm really, really, really proud that I was able to give that money back so quickly. It was so much more than I was expecting in the first 2 weeks of us being formally open. So great job to you guys for selling your stuff, because I'm not selling it, you're selling it. But I'm really, really glad that we could partner with you on that. The other piece of that is, how is that getting paid out? And I think that's something that's really important for racers to know as they're signing up, or as you're already signed up with that. We do collect your bank account information. We just do a direct deposit. For those who make sales, we total everything up at the end of the month and we pay out in the middle of the next month. So our May payments just went out when we got home from Anago. Any questions on how you are making money with us? Anything you got?
No, I mean, everybody's already signed up.
I know. But it's important to know. The second thing, this really doesn't have much to do with racing. Again, maybe a little clickbaity, but really, we could be doing this in any industry, and going out there and putting a car on the track has nothing to do with the meaningful connections that we're looking to build. And really what that all comes back to is just, how are we earning money and how are you earning money, right? So like I said, everything that we do is around that idea that meaningful connections put money back in your pocket. And there are a couple of ways that we're facilitating that, both on the merch marketplace and kind of behind the scenes for you all. So on the merch marketplace, you'll see on your racer profile, each of you has a custom hashtag. And I encourage you, as you're selling merch, to go out there and search for that custom hashtag. Encourage your customers and your fans to use that hashtag. And as you're seeing it pop up, use those photos. Reach out to your fans. Make that connection. The hashtag is meaningless without your follow-up. So going out there, finding those posts, asking permission to repost, puts that fan on a pedestal. They're going to feel great. They're more likely to repeat purchase. They're more likely to be a lifelong fan instead of somebody who just liked your design when they walked by your booth. And when other fans see that you're posting fan content, guess what they're going to want to do? they're going to want to buy your merch because they're going to want to put that hashtag out there, and they're going to want to be featured too. So it really starts to snowball in that meaningful connection space. Also, you can only reach so many people from your social media before it stops, right? It gets to your grandma's cousin, and then that's as far as it goes. But if your fan is posting pictures and tagging you and using your hashtag, you're reaching their grandma's cousin too, and everybody in between that circle. So your circle gets larger and larger. So those custom hashtags is a really small piece of your profile, but it's a huge piece of the marketing and those meaningful connections that you could be using. The other part of that really feeds into the sponsor side of things, right? Meaningful connections with fans is great. That brings you money as merch sales. That's a tiny, tiny piece of the potential money that you could be bringing into your race program through meaningful connections. So those meaningful connections in a sponsorship space are massive. As soon as you start building those relationships with your sponsors, you can really start bringing in a lot more money. Do you want to talk a little bit about like what it's like to have those meaningful connections?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes multiple ways. Where one of the biggest things you can do is connect with your fans, but also get your fans connected with your partnership, or your partners, I should say. So when you start to get fans and somebody excited about your brand and what you're doing, they're going to start looking at what partners you're working with. They want to support them because they want to support you. The other side of that is your partners start to see that and they go, oh, we really want to work with these people because they know and understand what it means to interact with, engage, and get down to the core market that they're trying to get to, and that's your fans, that's your people. So there's a really, really good relationship that you have to form there that slowly starts to develop. But one thing I'll say on that, one of the biggest things you can do is with a partner or a sponsor, get close to them, make friends with them, not just force it, but like try to be friends with them because that lasts so much longer in so many ways than anything else. And that's one big thing that we'll probably touch more on a little bit here, but is really trying to understand why and what that partner wants out of you and how to actually give them a proper return.
When you can ask about your partner's family and what they did last weekend, it's far more meaningful than asking about what kind of sales they have, or it really building that relationship turns a 1-year program into a lifetime program. And so how does Racer on Demand help to facilitate that for you? We have a whole page of Racer resources, which is really in its infancy at this point. But we've got discounts for you on sponsorship decks and webinars and ways to learn how to make those meaningful connections, not only with your sponsors, but also with your fans to create more value for your sponsors. We also do weekly blog posts, and I send those out to you via email every week, except for sometimes on race weeks when I get busy, but I'm trying. But almost every week, and I've got literally 2 more years worth of topics in my notebook, so those are not stopping anytime soon, and we're going to share everything that we can with you all because this is not something that should be a secret. So that's really what I mean when I say this isn't about racing, it's about those meaningful connections.
I'm just really curious actually, how many people have taken like a sponsorship class?
Couple.
Who's heard of Alex Strider? Okay. So we're partnered with Alex. Megan Meyer's another one that we're going to be working with hopefully soon. But Alex does an amazing job at bringing in a panel of people. He used to be the marketing guy for Lucas Oil, all of their off-road stuff. He worked in Core, the original Core. He did a bunch of marketing stuff for them, and he just brings in the industry's who's who and does interviews and like a panel to get an understanding of what companies actually want out of partnerships, sponsorships, what it means to have a deck versus a proposal versus a resume, and why you do all these kind of things. And what we're trying to really do is highlight those individual things. I'm going to keep trying to talk over that two-stroke.
Rather not bored.
Right. There's some really big things where it's so distracting. Yeah. That you want to make sure that you understand, and the big thing that we're trying to do with it is highlight each individual region section. I'm waiting for him to come by. No. Yeah. So what we're really trying to do with the Racer Resources is pick out certain specific people that are really good at their individual niche things in the partnership, sponsorship world, and even the marketing world for racers to really tap into. It's a small investment for them to understand, or for you guys to understand, what it means to really try and grow the program or get people that are actually interested in working with you.
Shameless plug on that too. Alex Stryler just announced that he has an off-road specific webinar coming up in August. It's right around Bark River time. We have a discount code for you, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my next point. But I strongly encourage you to check that out for less than the cost of 2 tires. You could be bringing in a ton of money into your program just by learning how to do things a little bit differently. But he's going to have the who's who from off-road, including the companies that support off-road on that call. Just a little bit of background. I come from learning and development. It's what I do for a living. And ask questions. Don't sit silent on that webinar, because all of the marketing folks from those companies that support off-road are going to be in that room, and it's going to be very wise of you for them to hear your voice and know that you're interested and you're paying attention and you're asking the right questions. So don't turn off your camera and multitask. Listen and then talk, because being heard in those is going to be very powerful. The next one, number 3, on the things you didn't know, we don't want your money. That is not why we are here. So I kind of talk a little bit about the 3 buckets. If you read my most recent blog post, it's about how growing motorsports really comes down to a bucket. And you think about how much money we have in our motorsport as a whole. And we've really got 3 main stakeholders in our motorsport. We've got our tracks, we've got our racers, and we've got our series. And what we consistently see is racers pointing at the tracks, or the tracks pointing at the series, or the series pointing at the racers, and everybody's saying they should be giving me more money, right? And it just goes in that circle, and we're all passing the same dollar bill around this circle instead of reaching outside of that bucket and bringing in more money from outside. So I don't want to take that dollar bill from the racers, from the tracks, or from the series. I want to take that dollar bill from outside, and I want to do it with your help. So the way that we make money is not through our racers. I don't want your money. I don't want your money. And I don't want you to have to give your money to other people either. So that being said, I think it's really important that you do know how we make money, because I intend for this to be a stable business that's here to support you guys for a long time to come. So we make money in 3 different ways. First off, on each sale, we do make a small amount. You guys make a lot more than we do on our sales. I will tell you that right up front. On most things, you make a lot more money than we do. But we make enough to host our website and to show up here and talk to you all, and put a little bit of money back into our pockets, enough to buy things like a tent so fans can find us.
Yeah, not show up here.
No. We're still working on making that kind of money. So that's the first way that we do, and that is the tiniest little piece of how I intend to make money. Right now, that's basically the only way that I'm making money. So I'm just keeping things afloat right now while I get you all onboarded and we start getting this off the ground together. Second way that I make money is those racer resources. So I'm going to cycle right back to the Alex Stryler webinar that we were just talking about. cameras, and the way that all of these are working is affiliate marketing. So I work with Alex Stryler, and I say, hey Alex, I think I can bring you a bunch of customers from off-road. What can you do for them, and what can you do for me? So he says, how about they get 20% off and you get a 10% kickback? And I say, that sounds fantastic. So now I'm bringing you guys a resource that is hopefully going to bring a lot more money into your programs at a discounted price, and I'm bringing him new customers, and it's win-win-win, and I get a little bit of a kickback from that as well. So in the HR world, we talk about incentivizing the change you want to see, right? I'm incentivizing myself to bring you guys really valuable resources that are actually worthwhile for you to spend money on. So that's the second way that we do it. The third way doesn't exist yet, but it's coming. And this is honestly where I need your help, is foot traffic on our website is worth money. I can sell advertising space on my website as long as I have the foot traffic and the demographics that sponsors and advertisers want to see. It's a lot like social media, right? People will partner with you if you've got a great social media presence because you're reaching the people that they want to reach. Well, guess what? I have a captive audience of off-road race fans, or race fans in general once we start to expand out. And I have a very unique way of reaching them with advertisement. So that means the more racers that we have on our website, the more race fans we have visiting our website, the more valuable our website is, and the more we can start to advertise in that space too. So that's the third way that we intend to make. Any questions there so far? Anything you want to add? All right. Number 4. I'm just going to put this out here. Again, clickbaity. I put, we're okay with an open relationship. I want to point out that's Racer on Demand is okay with that. Chris and I are pretty full, so. But what I want to talk about there, we've gotten a lot of people saying, well, I already have a merch relationship with somebody who does a great job for me. And that's where I want to say, that's great, keep doing that. I don't want you to give up on the relationships that you already have with your merch partners. If you are already working with a great supplier, keep doing it. If they're giving you a discount and you're bringing stuff to the track and that's working for you, by all means, keep doing that. I don't want exclusivity. Exclusivity is going to kill this. What I do want is to point out that we can be a really great add-on on top of those kinds of things. There are a lot of benefits to being online, which I think we all know that a lot of times you go to Amazon instead of Walmart, right? Like you end up online. And so do all of our race fans. We're reaching people via the live stream because Champ has been awesome to partner with. They're giving us, first off, free advertisement on their live stream, which is unheard of, and we're going to capitalize on that as much as we can. So we're reaching people not only sitting in the grandstands and watching the advertisements here, we're also reaching everybody who's sitting at home, not here at home. We have also no upfront inventory costs. So you don't have to worry about purchasing $2,000 worth of stuff that may or may not sell, or maybe it's not the right sizing. You don't have to start guessing on that. Another reason that we're a great add-on on top of that. Anything you'd add? Any questions on that? I know you guys are already signed up, so I'm kind of glazing over that piece. All right, the last one is we're only on step 1. So I just want to throw out there, like, we are officially a month and a couple of days old, and we're already at this point, which is super exciting. We've got, I think, somewhere around 35 racers signed up at this point, all from within off-road. We've got other racers knocking on our door from other series, asking, how do I get involved? How do I bring this to my fans? How do I bring this to my other competitors? And that's really our long-term goal, is to bring this out as far as we can. I want NASCAR to be on here. I want F1 to be on here. We're really looking big, and we're starting with you all. So that's a big step. So we're definitely bringing more racers on. Again, like I said, the more people we can get on, the better. So tell your friends, tell them that it doesn't cost anything, right? It doesn't cost money to sign up with us. Again, we don't want your money from that. We will onboard you for free. We will host you for free. The only prices that come into play at the sign-up point are those things that we're being charged by our vendors, if applicable. And that's things like if you need a design made, we have a low-cost design charge. It starts at $150. At this point, I haven't had to charge more than that for anybody we've worked with, which is awesome. So we've got design partners that'll turn around the design pretty quickly for a really low price. There is a charge if you'd like to have embroidery done. Embroidery costs $35, and that's because they have to map out every single stitch in order to get that set up. So if you want to do a hat or something, there is a small fee for that. I'm glad that's not loud. And then the only other way that there's any kind of sign-up charge is if you don't have a vector file and we have to pay for somebody to turn your image into a vector. And a vector is just a fancy way of saying a file that can be expanded to a printable size very easily and cleanly without getting pixelated. Those are the only 3 ways that I will charge you up front. If you have a vector file and you don't want to do embroidery and your picture looks great, you've already got everything, there's no charge to sign up with us. I don't want your money. So, like I said, we're getting that all set up. We are currently in the midst of transitioning to a permanent vendor. So we launched with a kind of transitional mindset of let's try this one out, let's try that one out, let's see what's working well. We found a permanent vendor and we're kind of in the end stages of getting everything finalized to move everybody over to a new vendor. And what's really exciting about our new vendor is he's very local to us. He's 15 miles from our house, versus prior vendors have been online, or one of them was in Houghton, Michigan. So a bit of a hike. That allows us to do 2 things. First off, quality control is a big one. So we're able to be there. We're able to see stuff before it goes out. We just placed a big order and we picked it up yesterday from the shop, which looks phenomenal, and I will show you if you are curious, because it looks, I think, better than any of the vendors we've worked with so far. But the other thing that gives us the opportunity to do is driving right back to those meaningful connections. I'm able to build a relationship with this vendor, which in the long term benefits both him and me, and frankly, all of you guys, because that means that we're all working together to get the best prices, the best products, and be able to put out the best stuff for all of our customers. So that's on the forefront. With new exciting things too, because our new vendor does stuff our old ones did not. Things like laser engraving, so we're looking at doing like tumblers and leather patches for hats, which means our customers, you all can now do hats without an embroidery fee because leather patches don't need that, so that's exciting. So we've got new stuff on the forefront that we're exploring there. We've also got our eyes set on other series. So we've been really fortunate with some of our partners and some of our past relationships to have kind of branches out into other motorsports already. I think things that we're kind of knocking on the door, obviously nothing is ever promised, but you know, we've got our sights set on Formula Drift. We've got IHRA drag racing. We've got some good connections in Circle Track. Ultra 4 is kind of knocking on our door. The little MAO series, Heartland Racing Association, we have people from there that we're working with, kind of just trying to get stuff in motion. So we're already looking at how do we expand out and how do we do that pretty quickly. The reasoning behind that is cross-marketing. If I can get eyes from another motorsport on our motorsport, imagine what that does. It says, oh my god, I didn't even know that this sport existed, but they're jumping trucks off of jumps in dirt at 100 miles an hour, and I'm used to watching a car go around in a circle on dirt. You know, that's a big difference, and we're able to really draw people in. Likewise, our fans are finding more value in seeing more racers and more series. So I don't want to take one racer from Formula Drift and one racer from drag racing and put them on our website because it's not going to do anybody any good. They're not going to bring in a whole swath of fans. I'm not going to have advertising to their fan base. I want to partner with this series. So just like I did with Champ, before I brought any of you on board, I went to Champ and I said, I have a solution for you. And I really want you on board to help me reach the fans and the racers. And I want to do that with the other series so that I can bring on not one person's fans, but an entire series fans and be able to get out in front of a bunch of people and bring kind of a landslide of value for everybody. Again, I'm going to just say this because third time's a charm. The more racers we have on our website, the more valuable it is for everybody. So whether it's our sport, whether it's another motorsport, tell your friends, tell your family, tell the people that crash into you on turn one, bring them in and have them sign up with us because it's so important for all of us that we get more eyes in here, more fans shopping. You're more discoverable when somebody is looking for somebody else and finds you. Yeah, what we're doing next. Yeah. All right. My next thing was on how to sign up. All of you are signed up. I'm going to skip it. What do you guys want to know? What questions do you have?
So all of our designs that got done by the previous,
Yes.
one of the now you're going to a new vendor. All those will transfer, or do I have to transfer?
I got you. Working on it. But I got you. And if you've already paid an embroidery fee, I am not charging you a second fund.
Also, if you didn't know this, if you paid anybody for design work and you have the design, all that stuff, that's yours, 100%. Legally, that is your design. So nobody can keep that from you. So if there's ever any issues with that, make sure you always know that that design is yours and you need to get all the rightful files and everything.
Which reminds me, I don't think I've had any of you sign it yet because I just got it back from my attorney not that long ago. I have some forms I would love for you to sign that say that you own your stuff and I own my stuff, and we're gonna keep it that way. I have those here. If I could grab autographs before you guys go, that would be phenomenal. I'll let you read through
We have to pick your color.
them. Yeah.
Word of
Okay,
words.
Are we
Maybe.
Are Ryan and I gonna have to pick new colors?
Maybe.
I mean, are there gonna be differences? There might be things we want to do.
There might be. So previously I was working off of the limitations of what other vendors had available. I have yet to be told no by this vendor when I say, hey, can you get this and this and this and this that I've been selling previously. I suspect I'll probably be fine with everything that you all have listed already, and in fact I'm guessing there will probably even just be more options for you. But if there are not like colors available or something, I'll reach out and see if you guys want to replace them or do something else.
Is the embroidery fee a one-time fee?
Yes. So the embroidery fee is $35 for, I think it's up to like 12,000 stitches, which is basically a hat or like a chest logo. If you want to do like a full back on a jacket, it's $80.
I'm thinking more.
Yeah. Yep. So it's $35, and that's just the one time to map out those stitches, and then you can print, embroider
Whatever the normal cost.
everything. Yes.
But then every design, if it's a new design, it's going to be
Yeah.
35.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's one time. What other time?
Does your vendor have a list of brands?
Probably. I'm not there yet, but probably. What I'm planning on doing is, if he doesn't have a catalog for you guys to shop, I'll put one together, just so I've kind of got an idea of what I can offer you. That doesn't mean that I can't go out and find something outside of that too.
What I've noticed lately through work, everything we get embroidered or silk screen, it seems since COVID, every time I reorder for all our employees, the previous is no longer available.
Oh yeah.
They quit carrying long or tall.
Yeah.
And this brand is now this company. And they're never, for an employee, we need consistency.
Yes.
For this, it may not matter as much, but that's
Yeah.
right.
As long as it's consistent enough to maintain a brand. But yeah, no, I think you're right that there's definitely some volatility in supply now. What else?
I'm gonna say something.
Uh-oh.
So, so in the past year and a half, we have done shirts with a local vendor by us. We've given away over $1,000 a shirt. Given away. Given away people on the street, friends, everything. Since you guys came on board and we signed up with you guys, we have sold more stuff to friends, family, and like distant friends. They email me, want to know like, hey, are you getting a cut of this? Or do you need to buy it from you? I'm like, no, we get a cut. We've sold more to different people that I've never imagined I would ever sell a shirt to. Like distant friends and family that live, these guys will never ever come to a race. And I sold shirts to. So, and it's a lot of friends and family of ours that live thousands of miles away. They're buying stuff because once I told them like, yeah, I get some percentage of it. That's cool. So I appreciate it.
I love that. And it really reinforces the fact that that's what matters. They don't care what's on the shirt, they care it's supporting you.
And I don't have to stock like
Yeah.
$500 a shirt. And I want to do the sandwich board, and every racer should do this. Put a board in front of your pits with a QR code straight to your site or to Racer on Demand. Have a thing that people walk by, they like you. Hey, scan this, get a shirt. You could go straight to the site and get whatever you want for you, your wife, your kids, or whatever you want too.
Yeah. And I can help you with that. I can help you get all that stuff set up.
It's, the QR code, I
We
think,
have
is
that
going
on
to
the
be
way.
huge.
We have
It's
ours on
coming.
the way.
It's coming.
What other questions? Or exciting news?
So I'll ask the racer resource side of it. What are things that you guys are interested in, want to know more about, how to start, all of that kind of stuff? Is there anything in that realm that we can either add to or kind of point you guys in the right direction?
So we had a difficulty getting a tire sponsor this year. Just landed one, but what's the time frames of when you should be getting things into companies and that kind of stuff?
Now,
Yeah.
Now for next year?
For
It
next
depends,
year.
depends
Yeah.
on
Start-
what origin, whatever origin that tire company
Yeah,
is in,
that's a big
whatever
thing.
country they're in.
yeah, so you want to look at.
I could go in depth on that one.
Yeah, are they U.S.? Are they
Yeah.
Japanese? Are they
They all have
Taiwanese,
different,
Korean? The
different.
The biggest thing that I'll say is if it's in September is fair. September and October is pushing it.
Yeah.
If you're in December looking for sponsors, their budget's gone. So they're typically planning everything out. Yeah, and they're closing everything up, getting all the budget allocated, all said and done before the end of the year, which means they have a couple months before that they have to get approvals on. So I like to say if you want to go after somebody, start now, make a connection, and never tell them what you can offer them. Ask what they need first. That's a huge thing that talking to companies over and over, they're like, people come to me telling me what they can give me, and they don't even know what I need out of it, right? So every partnership, every company is going to do way different. So that kind of goes back with the timeline of it. So just start the conversations with them, with people. Use LinkedIn. That's a huge page to network with professionals. You can find out who they are, what they do in the companies, and just kind of start chatting with them, interacting with them. That's the biggest thing that I can share to anybody. Just start interacting.
And I'm going to tack on to that. When he says reach out to people now for next year, I'm going to even maybe add a year on to that and say reach out to people now
Don't
for
expect
2 years
everything.
from now.
Yeah.
Because that relationship is really fresh, and the odds are they're going to tell you no right away. But keep working it and keep that relationship going and make sure that they recognize that you're invested in them, because then in turn they're going to be thinking of you when they're doing budgets for the following.
And their business and product, not just them.
Yes.
Know a lot about that company.
Research.
Research the crap out of it. Know it better than the salesperson at that company. That's the biggest thing you can do, and be genuine about it. You know.
That reminds me of when we were at Hammers, I think, and somebody walked up to the Nexon booth while he was sitting there chatting, and they were like, "Do you make this tire this size?" And Chris turns around and he's like, "Oh yeah, they do. It's this one, and they also offered this one. And just that right there, that tiny little, oh yeah, I know they make the tire in that size. That reinforces that you're selling their product.
So yeah, it's just little things like that. So there's a lot of, instead of looking at I'll talk forever on this kind of stuff, so if you want me to shut up, just but if you are genuinely wanting to work with the company, know them, know everything about what you can offer, while partnered with them, become friends with them, do everything in your power to be essentially a contractor to that company. That's the biggest thing that you have to look at it as. You are the face of that company, and you are trying to work out what they want out of whatever it is. You know, and it sounds so non-specific when I say that, but that's literally how you have to figure it out.
I will say too, one of the racer resources that we have, we've partnered with AJ Schmidt from Speed Motive Marketing, and if you aren't sure how to research a company, he will do it for you, and he will give you what you need. He'll look at your brand and what you have going for you, and then look at the company that you're trying to partner up with, and he will marry those two together and give you a very specific strategy to follow on how to approach that company and what kind of value you could build together.
I'll add on to that. So, being with Contingency with more, Asian markets tend to go from July to October. Don't ask me why their markets are so much different. So, Asian, anything like almost everything overseas, but Asian especially, July to October. U.S. markets to go after those guys is going to be September to December, and that's like their cutoff, and sometimes even November with the U.S. markets, like because they want to have their budget planned months ahead. But like for some reason, the Asian markets, they want their budget planned like 5 months ahead. Like I was trying to go after different ones. It's weird how the Asian and European markets are so. You have to like you were saying. Start making that clock now. You're gonna get shot down. You're gonna get shot down this year, more likely. But if you make that contact and stay with them through next year through July, you'll start hitting those markets. Because they're just a lot different on the Asian and European market. The U.S. markets, and especially if you're like dealing with somebody more local to you in your area, they might be more October to November because they don't have to figure out their budget more. But the bigger companies they're going after, they have a huge window that they're looking for that profitability and giving money out to them.
And every
So
company
it's
is
huge.
a little different
It
too.
is.
Like I can speak for the company that I work for, does wholesale oil distribution and tire distribution. And our fiscal year is 6 months off of everybody else's. We're finalizing our budgets right now. And so
You're on
if
the
you were to
Asian
approach
side
us
of
right
it.
now,
Yeah.
we would say not this year. We've already locked everything in. What other questions?
I'm just gonna give a plug for AJ. If you need a deck written to or made up, it's amazing, and I've got so many good comments from his work. And like I'll send it to a potential sponsor, and they're like, "Wow, this is super impressive." And yeah, we'll write the deck. So.
Yeah, AJ did ours too. He did an impressive job.
Yeah.
And he even reached out to some of our potential sponsors and got the ball rolling for us.
Yeah, he's an awesome asset. So if you don't know AJ, y'all know who Art Schmidt is, right? Or was raced? Well, he's still alive, but raced Pro Light Forever and Nissan Factory. AJ is Art's son, so he's very well versed in the industry and a bunch of other things. Had many businesses, still does. So his knowledge and connections are amazing. Yeah, great guy. If you just want to sit down and pick his brain about things too, that's awesome. The other thing that I'm just genuinely curious, who knows what the difference between a deck and a proposal is? Do you guys know that there's a significant difference between the two? When you go to a company, you don't just give them a proposal, right? So I'm just curious where people's minds are at, if they've been denied multiple times because they did the wrong thing. I'm genuinely curious on people's experiences, their knowledge of it. So I would love to jump in on that.
Say we needed more knowledge on what the difference and what, yeah.
Sure.
I was denied many times prior to like going through Alex's
Yep.
schooling. I learned the difference. Just you don't send an email
That's what
like,
you need, right?
Yeah.
I want this and I'll give you
You need to
this.
explain the difference.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
the difference
Yeah.
between a deck and
You
a
got
floor?
it.
Yeah.
So I'll just go right off of kind of what Alex always told us is you don't propose to somebody before meeting them and knowing them and building a relationship with them, right? Look at it like a marriage. Or proposing to have a marriage,
That's the
right?
best way of saying it, like
Yeah.
the marriage thing.
So your first thing that you do is typically is a resume. It's who you are, what you've kind of done, really quick, 1-page little, lots of pictures and just stats more or less.
A resume.
Just a resume, just kind of like you're writing up a resume for a job, but a little more colorful, a little better looking. Just who you are, what you do, and maybe some highlights of your life and your accomplishments.
And as an HR person, when they say you only get 10 seconds on on a resume, that is absolutely true, not only for a job, but also for sponsorship.
Yeah, so that's the first thing that you want to have done. Second thing is a deck. A deck is going to be another very quick and to the point, but also colorful and engaging thing to explain your program, stats, demographics, values, your brand, things like that. So it's really quick, stuff like that. Just on mine, like we have a picture of the awning setup and showing our activation area, stuff like that. We have
That's
some
like almost selling yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of going up to them and saying, it's like when you sit down on like a first or second date with somebody and you're explaining what you do, what you love, and why you do it, and why you're passionate about it. That's kind of what a deck is. Once
Can I just chime in for
Sure.
a second there? Your resume and your deck are about you, not about what you can do for them.
yeah.
And so those are the kinds of things that you can use over and over again and tweak little pieces to say, just like a job, right? If you're applying for a job that's looking for this skill and this skill and this skill, you would put on your resume how you're proficient in that skill and that skill and that skill, right? So you might tweak your resume, but overall it's the same thing. And the same thing goes for your deck. If you're going out to a company and you can tell by the research that you've done that they value collaboration and integrity and innovation, then you might highlight the ways that you fill those values, but you're not going to say, and I can provide you with XXX. You're still talking about yourself very holistically.
Yeah. And then once you get that company to go, hey, we're interested, sit down, have some conversations with them. Typically, they're going to be like, can you send a proposal about what we talked about and what we're thinking? The proposal can be formed into a contract. So that's what you want to sell or help, not sell, but what you want to do with that company and the return versus their investment. So you want to say, okay, we talked about you want to do some activations at different events, you want the truck out here, you want to do something with this. Let's put that kind of into a proposal, see what it looks like. I'm going to put some values together just to see where my value lies financially, what they're kind of thinking, and have it be open. A proposal can be redone multiple times over with a company. It's essentially like the pre-contract, and then you get the final contract. So
It's negotiation.
yeah, instead of I guess I've done this, and most people are guilty of doing it. You're going to send a proposal out to a company, and that's essentially a deck / what you can provide them with tiered stuff. I will say right now, don't send out tiered packages unless specifically asked for. That is one of the worst things you can do because 10,000 other people did the same exact thing. So, yeah, proposal is very much, I guess, intimate with the company. You want to sit down and write out what you talked about, what you want to do, and how that's going to look for the future.
If ever you aren't sure what to ask for money, we will gladly talk to you about it. We are an open book about what racers should be valuing themselves at and how much you should be asking for certain things. One of the worst things we can do is undersell each other. And if we're not talking about what kind of money we're getting from our sponsors, or if we're purposely undercutting to steal sponsors away from each other, we're still just passing that same dollar around. And we're making it a smaller and smaller dollar every time we do it. So we are open to talk to you and help you look at realistic values that help build our motorsport back up.
That's a big part of it. We need to build our sport back up.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
need to get it back to where it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Every one of us talk about where it was at in the 90s, and that's where this part is going to be huge. Like, build our sport up. Don't keep knocking it down.
Yeah.
Don't keep grabbing the same money from the same honeypot. Go outside that honeypot. Look for money outside to bring different vendors in.
And at appropriate values.
Yeah. And that's
Because we
literally-
have undervalued our sport. for a
Right.
long time.
Yep.
Literally the reason why we wanted to start Racer on Demand. The merch part is fun, it's cool, but it's really getting racers to understand how we can all build each other up separately, but also together. Like you guys just landed Hankook, which is awesome, and that's the big thing is like we are trying to build. There's really no competition when it comes to like, there's competition on the track when it comes to tire companies, but everybody knows each other in the industry. And talk to anybody at this track, they're excited to have a new tire company or a tire company that was out to come back in. So that's awesome, and that's the kind of stuff that we have to keep doing as racers and making sure that we're valuing that more and more and building that up as a group instead of going, well, I'm going to try and hop on this brand and hey, I can do it for less than that guy and it's going to be way better. That's the worst thing that we could ever do for each other in this sport. So, yeah. Yeah, I could talk again forever about this. So please, if separately, if you guys ever want to ask questions, do that. We do a lot of this stuff on our blog. If there's anything else, like genuine questions at all, so
Yeah. Or ideas. I mean, we're a month into this. If there's anything that we could be doing better for you or different for you, I mean, I have some ideas that we just haven't had the capacity to even begin rolling out yet. Things like if you want to do a special discount code for something, if you want to run a promotion, if you want to do only 100 t-shirts are made with this design, like let's talk about it. Let's talk about like how to build value on your brand. If there's any way that you think we could help you with a promo, with social media content, like let's collaborate, let's do this together, and we are all about ideas and working with you guys to make things bigger.
Is there anything for like social media content at the races, you know? Is there anything out there that lists who all does it and how to get, you know?
that is
Yeah.
the hardest thing to do. And
It is.
right now
it
there
is
is not.
just impossible. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's daunting to me. It's like
Yeah. We have some
you
ideas.
see what everybody's got, and it's like, how do we get close to something?
Yeah.
Just a little something.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, we have some good contacts with the media folks here. So if
Yeah.
you're interested, we can
Yeah.
definitely talk even just with our media guy about who's out there and who's
Yeah.
got capacity
Yeah.
and openings and stuff. But we have talked about like how do we get involved with Champs Media to like really put
Yeah.
that even on our
I
site.
know they have so much. They post
Great
so much cool
content,
stuff,
yeah.
but
We
have,
can't get our hands
we have,
on it.
and it's us.
Yeah.
You know, why is this so hard for us to get?
Right.
I,
Right.
It blows my mind.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Without us, they don't have that picture.
Right, and that's the big thing that we've chatted with them about when we first started this,
Yeah.
and
They're willing to work with us
yeah,
too.
it's just a matter of. I mean, there's multiple things. It's just I would say lack of time and resources, is what it comes down
Yeah.
to.
I
Like,
understand
been
they're a very
doing
small
great.
community too.
Yeah.
Camp is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
They've
not
been
many
putting
people
a
that
lot
run
of
that
stuff
show.
out there, which
So
is
I get
awesome,
that.
that we
Yes.
can all share. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're looking for ideas. Like, frankly, when we met with Champ, we thought it was going to be a really hard sell on Racer on Demand, and it was far easier than we were expecting. We had a half an hour meeting set up with them, and after the first 10 minutes, we already had everything ironed out for Racer on Demand stuff. And then we just sat and we talked with them about how do we repair the rift between racers and series. And realistically, like, they were all ears about why is this broken? How can we fix this? Like, they want a much closer relationship and they want to be able to help, but they don't know how a lot of times, and they don't know sometimes why racers don't like them. They don't know what we're actually asking them for. There's a lot of unknown on both sides, and I think it comes across as just making this divide bigger and bigger. But in our experience, like, they really do care and they really do want to make it better. They just don't know how sometimes.
So obviously you guys, well, not obviously, I don't know. You know that Mike Rucci is
Yep.
kind of the liaison,
Oh, yeah.
right? he can help you out with that kind of stuff. At least bring that up to him, because he'll go right to Carl with it, or whoever he needs to talk to. And typically he's pretty quick on that. The other thing is you could probably go and talk to Mike Roth, the media guy, the director, I guess. To see resources and stuff like that. The other thing that how we kind of stumbled upon or got all of our media people that, or not all of them, but the two that we have, is just following what other racers are doing, who they have, watching it, and then having a conversation with that media person. Do you have any, what does it cost? What's it going to do? How do we make something around it and stuff like that? So, and it's hard for something new coming in for sure, or something that's trying to do more, and that's definitely, obviously, there's no direct solution right now that, well, we think there is, but there's a lot of things that we definitely want to kind of iron out a little bit better, but that's also on the champ side.
Any other questions? Any other statements, concerns?
I just gotta have one more thing to say.
I'll just say that I was talking about Amanda earlier and just comment about all your posts. And, you put a hell of a lot of time into all those posts, and they're amazing. And to have a little bit of that analysis would be awesome. I don't know personally how you even put those together.
Everybody asks, and it's passion. Like, I don't know how to answer it other than that. It's really just, I love my kid and I love what she does, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it. So I'm trying to put together ways to help people because everyone does ask. I just haven't figured it out yet. But hired media, that's like first and foremost. Hire, and we do. And people think we're crazy because it's a tiny little youth racer, but if you don't carry that through, you have it forever. Pictures and videos.
Yeah, you can't get it without that.
No, you can't
The
spend
investment is so worth
spend
it.
Right.
money.
They
So
might
hard
think
to
you're
invest
crazy.
into that.
It is.
Like it's a huge loss.
And to get a paying partner, they need stuff to look at.
Yeah.
And they want the good stuff to look at to pay for it. You know?
They might think you're crazy, but I guarantee they know about Donuts with Eleanor.
Oh yeah.
I hope
Right.
so.
I
hope so.
The other
We
thing
try.
that kind of going off of what you guys do really well, and just for everybody, is make sure you tell your story. Like, who are you? What's your story? Why did you get into this? What are you doing with it?
Why are you weird?
Why?
Right,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of the thing. Why are you weird? Why are you different? Like, what makes you different than the sea of race vehicles, and then even greater, the sea of all the other race vehicles in the world?
And it's not winning races. It doesn't matter.
Sell your person, sell your brand.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're at on the track.
And Ryan's always here to tell you about
Sell
selling yourself.
Sell yourself.
That's like actually.
I think we funded it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. This has been awesome. I hope you learned something. I know you guys are already all signed up with us, but I hope you learned something anyway.
To just spread the word about it too. Yeah.
Yeah. The more
that's
people
what
you
we
can
have
send
to
our
do,
way,
too.
the
we
better.
do.
Yeah.
Our website is the best way for them to sign up. I just recently added a new way to sign up. So you guys all signed up through my old form, which was arduous and back and forth emails. My new form says here are all the forms that you need. Download them, fill them out, upload them here. Give me your design here, and then all I have to do is follow up with merch requests, and if they need a design made, we'll follow up with that. So it's a lot more streamlined